So even though there's a lot of bad things going on in the world right now, let's focus on the positive. There are a lot of companies that are actually banding together and fighting against IDH verification, specifically in the UK. The UK just recently announced that they are drafting a law to scan every photo, video, and message on every phone in the country. Why are they doing this? Oh, of course, to protect the kids, as they always say. So they're basically saying, hey, kids should not be allowed to have nude images on their phone. They should not be sent nude images. So therefore, what we're going to do is scan every single image, message, or video that is sent in any type of messaging app that there is. The UK is giving Apple and Google 3 months to introduce stronger protections to stop children from taking, sending, receiving, or viewing nude images on their devices. Keir Starmer said that if the companies do not act by September, the government is prepared to introduce new laws. Here's a direct quote from him saying, "Today I am calling on tech companies operating in this country to introduce device control that prevent children from sending and receiving sexually explicit images. This is not an impossible challenge," Starmer said. Let me just translate what he said. We want you to have mass surveillance. All right, cool. Anyways, Apple has already released features that warn users when nudity is detected in Messages, AirDrop, and FaceTime, while Google offers parental controls through Family Link and Safe Search. However, the UK wants stronger protections that work across devices and apps. So yeah, pretty much every single major social media, OS, everything that you can think of on the internet already has parental controls and child safety controls, but parents just don't use them because they don't care enough, right? So the UK's solution to this problem, and the problem for them is they haven't harvested enough data, is, hey, have every single message get scanned everywhere, regardless of whether it's an image, regardless of wherever it is being sent. This is actual mass surveillance. I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but I mean, what else could it be? If they're scanning every single message that you send and do the guise of, oh, we're protecting the kids, what is that? That is mass surveillance. There's no other way to put it. So 2 companies have recently stepped forward and are standing against IDH verification. Both of them are writing letters and stuff. Signal specifically is a messaging app that is supposed to be devoted to end-to-end encrypted communications, privacy, all the time, every message, every call, every time. Which, by the way, I don't know how either one of these guys haven't sponsored me yet. Come on, people, VPN companies sponsor me. My business email is in my channel description. Come on, guys, help me pay the bills. But anyways, our statement on the UK government's demand that all content on all devices sold or used in the country be scanned on the presumption of nudity using a dystopian combination of age verification and content scanning. This proposal will not safeguard children. It endangers us all. Signal wrote quite a lengthy letter, so let's look at Mullvad's first. So basically they said, the UK government spyware demands means that the government decides exactly what should be censored on every mobile device. They say they will start with nude pictures if you don't identify yourself as an adult, but it could at any time be expanded to anything the government disapproves of. Today, 30 people are arrested every day in the UK for writing something online that the government classifies as, quote, grossly offensive. It is obvious that they will use this tool to restrict free speech. Currently, there appears to be no requirement to report findings outside the device. However, with both legal and technological decision-making power taken away from individuals and transferred to the government, that is only a pen stroke away. This means the government could also use this system for total mass surveillance. I mean, again, there's no other way to put it. That's what it is. And they can do so in secret. The government recently, in secret, tried to pressure Apple, which is now agreeing to client-side scanning, to build backdoors into its end-to-end encrypted cloud service. They can do this under the Investigatory Powers Act 2016, also known as the Snoopers Charter, a law that makes it illegal for tech companies to disclose secret demands from the government. So according to Mullvad, the government is already blackmailing companies like Apple and essentially making it illegal for them to disclose anything the government is making them do. But anyways, let's go to Signal's letter and see what they're saying. They made an official protest letter and a statement to the UK's latest threat to privacy. Children deserve to be safe, protected, and nurtured. They do not deserve surveillance, funding cuts, and cover-up. Children also deserve their human right to privacy, as does everyone. The UK government's demand that all content on all devices sold or used in the UK be scanned on the presumption of nudity using a dystopian combination of age verification and content scanning will not safeguard children. Exactly. I don't know why the UK government thinks that they're moral or something, where they just want to watch everything that we do, but it's not going to keep kids safe, and they know that. They just want to harvest all this data from all of us. It endangers us all while strengthening Apple, Google, and Microsoft's market dominance and their control over our most personal information. Forcing all UK residents to prove their age and/or have all their content scanned simply to exercise their fundamental right to communicate is a perilous proposition. We know that mass surveillance and censorship capabilities, however sincere sounding the promises those who initiate them are, never remain narrowly scoped. And this is how they manipulate parents, by the way, right? They're just trying to say oh, we want to protect your kids. We want to protect the kids of the UK. Help us in this mission, right? They do try to make it sound super sincere and as if this is all being done for the kids. But again, again, scanning every single message that is ever sent in the entire country. Yeah, okay, that's for the kids, really? Okay, buddy. Once created, they will be expanded, forming a dangerous tool that will be wielded both in the UK and abroad to censor and surveil whatever they might consider threats or harmful content. Emphasis on the word abroad, because remember, for some reason, every single country right now is looking at every single mass surveillance law that the UK is introducing or passing and being like, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that too. They claim that it'll run on device, but we already know that that's bullcrap. There will be an inevitable authoritarian expansion of the kind of content and people these technologies will be expected to surveil. Right now, they're just saying that they're going to be doing it for news, right? What else are they going to consider offensive next week, next month, next year? And soon they're going to be scanning all that as well. So, I mean, this is the slippery slope of all time is ID age verification. And they essentially end it by saying, no, kids are not going to be safe from this. Child safety looks like well-funded education, robust social services, and meaningful guardrails on the very AI technologies and platforms the current government is eagerly courting. I mean, that is so true. The AI technology is actually super dangerous to the kids as well. That's why a lot of these kids are, doing stuff to themselves by talking to AI chatbots and stuff like that. And the UK is using that same AI technology to go ahead and scan all of our information. And they claim to do it to protect the kids. Yeah, get out of here, man. What the UK government wants instead is an invisible surveillance infrastructure switched on by default and potentially rushed into law under cynical pretexts. All of this with scant care for the actual needs of the children they claim to be protecting or the horrifying and far-ranging consequences that will ensue in practice. Well said by both organizations, and I really, really hope that more companies are joining the fight against ID age verification. Again, I've always been more of a glass half full type of person, so let's focus a little bit more on the positive. Here are the companies that are already either fighting age verification or have been fighting age verification in the past. Apple has tried, and they're kind of on and off, but they were fighting ID age verification at one point, but you can't really trust Apple. They themselves are pretty shady. There was an open letter written to ID age verification pastors around the world that was written by 371 security and privacy academics from 29 countries. Shout out to all those people. 4chan and Kiwi Farms are actually fighting out ID age verification in court as we speak. Firefox actually made a statement recently talking about ID age verification and how invasive and strange it is. NetChoice is obviously a company that we've talked about that is fighting ID age verification as well, but the only reason that I am like a little iffy on them is because they still have Meta on their homepage, even though Meta has been proven to be the company that is funding ID age verification laws. So I'm a little iffy on NetChoice, but regardless, I guess, I appreciate them for blocking the laws that they did. But yeah, I'm just glad that more companies are joining the fight against ID age verification. And, the thing is, like they mentioned a few things in this post as well. There have been so many things that have happened recently that I feel like people forget about because there's just so much information around the world right now. And there's so many things going on. But just as a reminder, Europe's new age verification app promoted as a way to keep kids safe was hacked in under 2 minutes. We made 2 videos about it because the guy who hacked it twice. He hacked it once, and then I think a few days or maybe a week later, he hacked it again. They also mentioned the 70,000 IDs and selfies linked to online verification systems being leaked. They're obviously referring to that Discord hack that happened last year, and it could have actually happened again, according to a video that we made recently. There are so many different reasons why ID age verification is a bad idea. These companies are laying it out for you. It just really makes me sick and tired that some companies that have a ton of money are still bending over backwards to the government, and I just assume that they're doing it on purpose, especially Meta. I mean, I hate Meta, man. They are the ones that are going ahead and pushing all these ID age verification laws throughout the world. I have seen a few tweets that are in replying to these like letters and stuff like that, which they are actually in support of the letters, right? But I feel like a lot of people feel like if they take this like vitriolic dialogue where they're like, fuck you to the government and all that type of stuff, I'm telling you that it's not actually going to help, right? I mean, this guy might be making this tweet just to make the tweet, right? But he said, you have a few typos and fuck off, we will not comply, but nice letter though. But that's a problem, right? If a company or an organization tells the government, fuck you in a literal sense, right? Why would the government listen to them, right? So you do actually have to play a little bit nice. You can still write a strongly worded letter just like Signal did, but obviously when you start going into like personal attacks and doing like ad hominems and stuff like that, the government is going to dismiss you as like, oh, you're just a kid, you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm actually glad that these companies are taking more of a professional route than what people on Twitter might want them to do, because at the end of the day, this isn't about satisfying our own egos. This isn't about trying to get the government to reply to any one of us, my videos, these people's tweets, anything like that. All we want them to do is listen, right? We just want them to actually hear what we have to say and hopefully reconsider their laws, right? Yes, I know some people might think it is wishful thinking. I know some people might think it's delusional or whatever, but I actually support all of these companies that are at least trying to fight against ID age verification. The problem is when you give up and say, oh, it's just going to happen anyways. We're all screwed. It's over. I might as well just stop using the internet. That's quitter talk, man. If you guys want to actually quit, then, I mean, you guys are kind of a part of the problem, in my opinion. ID age verification is something that we can stop. These laws have been getting blocked around the world and around some certain states in the United States. But what won't help is to say, throw your hands up and say, oh, it's over. They're just going to pass all these laws. There's nothing we can do about it. Yes, I mean, these laws are going to get passed, and a lot of them, there's not going to be anything we can do about it. But like I say in pretty much every single video I make about ID age verification, why not try? What is the harm in trying? So shout out to mullvad.net. Shout out to Signal. I appreciate all of these companies that are actually trying to fight ID age verification and mass surveillance. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the situation in the comments. I'm glad to see more companies are sticking up for us. Please leave a like in the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.